All right, this is part 2 of lesson 5-2, solving inequalities using multiplication and division. In part 1 of this lesson, we focused on multiplication, so now we're going to focus on division. We are still keeping in mind what we talked about flipping our sign in the first part of the video, right, part 1. So the sign only flips if all 3 of these things are true. If you're multiplying or dividing, it doesn't flip if you're adding or subtracting. It has to be multiplying or dividing both sides of the inequality, not just one, by a negative number, okay? If all 3 of those are true, then at the end, your sign flips, and I'll show you what I mean. So here we have an example. I'm not 100% sure why my page printed out so super light. It's like in a light gray. I don't know. Hopefully I can see this okay. All right, we have this example, and it is negative 12y is greater than or equal to positive 48. So we have our problem, and then to get y by itself, don't get confused and say, okay, well, it's minus 12, so to get rid of minus 12, I need to add 12. No, this is not saying y minus 12. This is saying negative 12 times y. So to get rid of times this negative 12, we have to divide by negative 12. And of course, whatever I do on one side of my inequality, I have to do on the other. Well, look what we have here. We're dividing both sides by a negative number. So guess what happens to my sign? The one thing they do here is flip the sign early on. I don't like that. You flip the sign here after you divide. So our sign starts off this way. Then we divide both sides by negative 12. These negative 12s cancel. And I'm left with y. My sign flips. So now it's going this way. And 48 divided by negative 12 is negative 4, right? If you think about it, had we left our answer as y is greater than or equal to negative 4, a number bigger than negative 4 is 0, let's say. So if I plugged 0 in here, negative 12 times 0 is greater than 48. 0 is not bigger than 48, so that doesn't work. So you have to flip your sign. This is not correct. We did not flip our sign here. You have to flip your sign in order for this to be correct. This is saying that y can be anything smaller than negative 4. So let's say it's negative 5. That's smaller than negative 4. Negative 12 times negative 5 is positive 60. And 60 is greater than 48. So that would work. So you got to remember, when you divide or multiply both sides of an inequality by a negative, your sign flips. All right, let's do a few examples. I'm hoping this will go a little faster than the last video. All right, sorry if you can't see it if it's too light. Solve each inequality, check your solution. All right, first, number 1, we're trying to get g by itself. Right now it's g times 25. So I'm going to divide by 25, and I got to do the same thing over here. Uh-oh, I have a negative being divided here. Does that mean my sign flips? No, just look at what's in red. What am I doing to both sides? I'm dividing by a positive number. So my sign does not flip when I divide by a positive number. It only flips when I divide by a negative. So these go away, and I'm left with g. My sign stays the same, and negative 100 divided by 25 is negative 4. So there's my answer. Your sign only flips when you multiply or divide both sides. All right, number 2, negative 2x is greater than or equal to 9. So I got to divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2. Am I dividing both sides by a negative? Yes, I am. So these cancel, bring down my x. My sign does flip now. So it goes this way. It was open this way, but since I'm dividing both sides by a negative, now it flips and goes the other way. And then my answer here is negative 9 over 2, or you could change it to negative 4.5. I would accept either answer, I don't care. Okay, number 5, another negative problem here. Negative 6k is less than 1/5. To get rid of negative 6, I need to divide by negative 6. On this side, I need to divide by negative 6. These negative 6's cancel. Since I'm dividing both sides by negative 6, my sign is going to flip. So I'm going to have k. My sign flips. Now it opens this way towards the k. And when I divide a fraction, remember, keep it, change it, flip it. 1/5 times 1 over negative 6. Keep the first fraction the same. change your sign from division to multiplication, flip your second fraction upside down. Now I can multiply straight across the top, straight across the bottom, and my answer is k is greater than -1/30. Okay? Normally in your answer, your negative sign floats to the top, or you can write it out to the side, or you can leave it on the bottom. I don't really care. All right, let's do a couple more. Number 10 here, I have p, -5 times p, and -30. -30 is greater than -5p. I need to get p by itself, so I'm going to divide by -5. Same thing over here. Since I'm dividing by a negative, my sign is going to flip. -30 divided by -5 is 6. When I'm making a video and then I get a phone call and it interrupts. Anyways, we get 6 is less than p, but we need p to be first. So we're going to flip p in 6. And here, this is our answer. Mathematically, we're done. We're just going to make it look different by flipping the sides. And our sign is open towards the p, so we want it to stay open towards the p, so we're going to flip that too. Mathematically, we didn't flip this sign. We just literally wrote the same answer, just wrote it in a different direction. We only mathematically flip our signs if we're multiplying or dividing both sides by a negative number. Okay? And let's, okay, so for here, I see a fraction. We can work on that one next. For this one, I would need to divide by 10, divide by 10. This is -40 being divided by 10, but I'm not dividing both sides by -40, right? Yes, there happens to be a negative here, but I'm dividing both sides by +10. So that negative doesn't have anything to do with my sign flipping. My sign will not flip here. So -40 divided by 10 is -4. My sign stays the same. These 10s cancel and I get h. And then of course I want h on the other side, so I need to rewrite it. I'm going to flip the h in the -4. My mouth is open towards the -4, so I keep it open. So that's my answer. Okay, and then real quick, I'll get it posted out. We'll do that one last little fraction. I know you guys like to have a lot of examples with fractions. -2/3 n is greater than or equal to 6. -2/3 n greater than or equal to 6. Okay, so to get rid of a fraction, you want to multiply by the reciprocal. The reciprocal has nothing to do with changing the sign. The reciprocal is just flipping it upside down, right? So here, -2/3 would become 3/2. If it's the opposite reciprocal or the negative reciprocal, then you change the sign. But just the reciprocal, you don't change the sign. And so whatever I multiply one side by, I got to multiply the other side by the same thing. Since I'm multiplying both sides of my inequality by a negative fraction, my sign's going to flip. So it's going to go this way, right? So these fractions cancel each other out, so I'm left with n. And then 6 becomes 6/1. 6 times 3 is 18. 1 times -2 is -2. And 18 divided by -2 is -9. So that would be my answer. I used the space up so I didn't have room, but this problem right here would be n is less than or equal to -9. Okay, hopefully that helps you guys out a little bit. All right, then we have these last 3 problems where we have to translate and solve. Zoom in a little bit here. 4 times a number is no more than 108. Do it in purple. 4 times a number, so 4x, a number is x, or any variable, is no more than. So it can be less than. It can be less than 108. Could it be 108? Yeah, the only thing it can't be is more than 108. So it's going to be less than or equal to 108. So that's our inequality. Now we got to solve it, right? So I'm going to divide both sides by 4. 4x, 108. Divide both sides by 4. These cancel. And I'm going to be left with x is less than or equal to 27. Right? So you got to show me your inequality, show me your work, show me your answer, right? This is what you get points for, showing the work. Okay, since we divided both sides by +4, we did not flip our sign, it stayed the same. Number 18, the opposite of 3 times a number. When it says the opposite, it means change the sign. So the opposite of 3 times a number, so 3x, make it opposite, is greater than 12. The opposite of 3 times a number is greater than 12. So now we have to solve that. So guess what I'm going to have to do to both sides? Go ahead, guess. Just kidding. Dad joke. All right, so these go away, and I'm left with x. The negative 3's cancel, not the x. On this side, 12 divided by negative 3 is negative 4. Oops. And then in the middle, what does my sign do? Since I divided both sides by a negative, it's got to switch, right? So it's going to go this way. My sign had to flip because I divided both sides by a negative. All right, and lastly, 19. Sorry, this is going all wonky. All right, negative 5 times a number. Negative 5 times a number. The number is always x or whatever variable you want to use. Is at most 100. So it can be equal to 100, or it can be less than 100, but the most it can be is 100. It can't be more than 100. So it can be less than or equal to 100. So this is our inequality. Then we want to solve it. I need to divide both sides by negative 5, so my sign is going to flip. Less than or equal to 100. Divide by negative 5, divide by negative 5. See, we're dividing both sides by a negative, so my sign is going to flip. These go away, and I'm left with x, flip my sign. 100 divided by negative 5 is negative 20. Okay, pretty straightforward for multiplication and division. Just remember your properties of fractions mostly, right? And do not forget, I know I keep putting this down, it's annoying, but do not forget, your sign only flips if you're multiplying or dividing both sides of an inequality by a negative number. All right, let me know if you have questions.